But you come out of jail, and for the very first time, you realise, do you know what? I've wasted my life. There are things that have happened in my life that I can't change, but I now have to deal with that. What was that moment that happened either in jail or when you came out that thought, this is not the life for me. I need to have a different life and I need to give a different message?
Well, you don't get the time to sit and contemplate where you got lost. And when you're going into prison on little sentences, it is what it is. It's a lie down, you're getting out. But when you get one with double figures, you've got enough time to really search your soul and see what the fuck's gone on with your life. And the fact that I lost my identity from an early age, ended up with a group identity on the streets, and that just led me down a crazy path of crime. Once I was in custody, I didn't really give a damn about victims. I weren't really aware of the consequences of your actions. I went on to these offending behaviour programs. They just made you more. They made you
Aware.
more conniving. They made you more
Yeah.
aware of how to commit better crimes. But then 5 years into my sentence, I ended up in a prison. And within that prison, they had a charity-based course. It was a
Nice.
Christian-based course, and it was called the Sycamore Tree. I went on this sycamore tree, and it was a proper eye-opener. It explained the ripple effect. So from that moment on, that's when I decided to sort my head out and change my ways and start doing what I need to do. When I've been released from custody, I was under MAPA 3 Tier 4. Eventually, I end up back in my ma's estate, and when I've gone on to my mum's estate, the lads that were drug dealing before I went to prison were still drug dealing. I witnessed a young woman with a child in a pram getting served cocaine at 10 o'clock in the morning. I was looking at the state of the place, and it just really done me head in. And I thought, you know what? I can't just stand by and let what we started continue to rot this place. So I took a stance. Choose a Life, Not a Knife came to me when I was on license due to self-harm. Choose a Life, when I was on license, I was in a bad place. I was lonely. I couldn't go near anyone. I was in a house by myself in St. Helens. I was considering self-harming, and Choose a Life, Not a Knife popped up. It stopped me from committing suicide, and I sort of carried that message with me as a way of inspiring myself. So when I've landed in Liverpool, it's just ended up going down this path from knife crime, gun crime, drug dealers to organised crime groups, and I've just become very vocal on it.
And
So
what's the biggest message that you would give? You know, there's young people out there, and you've just talked about them now, who are out there dealing drugs, getting involved in knife crime, gun crime, the escalation from one level to the other. What's that message that you would give to them? You've done it. You've been there. You've got the tattoos, but you've also got the damage that it's caused. What's your message?
the message is choose a life, not a knife. Don't lose your identity to a group on the street outside your mum's house. Your mum's raising you in a certain way to protect you in your future.
How do we stop that? How do you stop that? How do you stop that? Bearing in mind, many of those young people who have now swallowed up and entering the life of crime come from a disturbed background. Many of them will have your background. You could take a lot of them, I'm sure, and you could look at it and go, do you know what? That's the path that I was on. How do you stop that path?
You've got to make sure that they start re-identifying with themselves. I was saying last night to someone, you've got to look forward. All these kids who are 13, 14, 15, they've been inspired by people like myself. So I inspired the next level of criminals. Them criminals have inspired what you're seeing now in the streets of Liverpool.
How do you get them to listen to you now? Because you're right, they were following you. How do you get them to still listen to you now and change their path?
By being very, very vocal and telling them what I know is happening. So I can say to certain groups, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. And because they know what I'm saying is going on, they're more ready to listen to what I'm preaching.
Right.
I've been there, I've got the experience. How many
Yeah.
mates have you lost? How many of your mates are in prison? How many mates have got addictions? Are them older lads around your group using you? Are you only making £500 a week while he's making £3,000 a week? Are you being stupid? Do you know you're going to be doing his jail? Now that's the avenue I come from.
Right. I get it.
Drug dealing and the organised crime groups that manipulate the youth and groom the youth as if this is a boss lifestyle because you get cars. You've got to understand the long-term traumatic events that you deal with later on. You don't, they get the tolerance levels towards violence on these youth goes through the roof. They're witnessing situations, they're losing very close friends, and instead of dealing with the grief, they're covering it by reacting in the same sort of violent mindset that the people that killed the friends done or used.